Good afternoon. Welcome to Payentry's webinar on voluntary benefit solutions. I think you're going to get a lot out of this webinar and maybe some ideas about how you can um, spiff up your benefits plan in 2021. If you're on here today, I'm sure you're curious about what we're offering now. We have today as our presenter, Sherry Branda. Sherry's a benefit consultant for Payentry that specializes in voluntary benefits. She's worked with employer groups of all sizes and in many different industries over the past 16 years and is well versed in the latest voluntary trends and what employees are asking for. Sherry does believe that educating employees is the key to a successful benefits program. And now I'm going to turn it over to um, Sherry.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Can you hear me okay?
Sure can.
All righty, great. Well, let's get started. And if you'll advance to that first slide.
Okay, and I want to tell everybody too, I forgot to let you know, there is a handout in the block on your screen. It is a copy of today's presentation. If you want to download that and look at it as you go along, you can make notes on it, or we can send this to you later if you're unable to download it. At the end of the session, there will be a question and answer period, and I will ask the questions and Sherry will answer them. So make sure you just type it in the box as we go along, and we will take care of it at the end. And with that, there you go, Sherry.
All righty, thank you so much. Well, we had our webinar last week, so I want to just recap with these first few slides, just to make sure that we're all on the same page about what voluntary benefits are. So voluntary benefits were created over 60 years ago, and they were primarily used to help families continue to pay their bills, their rent, their mortgage, the light bill, groceries, if they had to miss work due to an illness or a chronic illness or a serious injury. The value of these plans have increased over the years because employees still need to cover those everyday bills when they face a serious illness or an accident. But today they also need help covering their high deductibles and the increased maximum out-of-pocket that we all face. So these plans are offered to, sometimes they're called supplemental plans. They're offered to supplement your existing benefit package, or they can be offered as standalone options if you don't currently offer any benefits. These benefits pay regardless of what health insurance a person may have or not have. Often people think that they're tied with the core medical insurance, but that's not the case. They stand alone. And they pay regardless of what your deductible is, of what carrier you have, or if you don't have any health insurance at all. We file on these benefits separately, and the benefit is paid directly to the employee, not the doctor or the hospital, so that they can use that money for whatever immediate need they have. This is still the key feature of voluntary benefits, and this is really what makes these plans so attractive to employees. There's a variety of them to choose from, so we can put together a unique benefit package that fits your own employee's needs. So why offer voluntary benefits? Well, again, if you'll advance, Kathy, to that next slide. We offer it basically because we're going to help reduce that out-of-pocket expense. If your employees aren't working and they're not making an income, they still have to cover their rent and their groceries and their car note, etc. That's what these voluntary benefits do. They help pay back for some of those expenses that we have. And they're not earmarked just for a deductible or just for your out-of-pocket. People can use these benefits for anything that they need, and that's a feature that people really like. We say that they're no cost or they're low cost to you as the employer. So often employers offer voluntary benefits 100% paid for by the employee. They pick and choose what's a good fit for their family, and it's payroll deducted or set up through bank draft, and the employee pays for it. Occasionally, we have employers, and we're seeing this more today, where they'll set up what's called a benefit bank. And so they'll set aside a certain amount of money each month and allow the employees to pick and choose the benefits they want. But however you do it, it's important to offer these kind of benefits, you know, because for a lot of employees, accessing insurance coverage through their employer is the only way that they can get some of these benefits. And so offering this really helps you to attract and retain quality employees. And it's a great way to show your employees that you care, that you're offering them resources and coverage that they need to protect their families. So we also talked about last week the 5 fastest growing voluntary benefits on the market today. And we're excited about this because 4 out of the 5 of them are going to be addressed today in this presentation. So increasingly, employees are asking for things like an identity theft protection plan, hospital indemnity plans, pet insurance has become very popular, critical illness benefits, and I'm going to go into the detail and kind of explain how these different benefits work, or a group legal service plan. Those are the top 5 benefits that employees are asking for today, and those are continuing to increase year after year. So we're really excited that Payentry, in partnership with the Association for Entrepreneurship and Legal Shield, 2 top carriers in the voluntary market today, in partnership, we're going to be able to offer these benefits to your employer, to your employees, and create unique benefit packages that fits you and their needs. So on the next slide, let me tell you a little bit about the Association for Entrepreneurship. Now, this may sound a little bit odd because obviously these are employees of yours, are not necessarily independent entrepreneurs, right? But it's really designed for anybody who considers themselves an entrepreneur or is considering it. And let's face it, a lot of times employees do have a second, we call it a second gig or maybe a second side part-time job. And so that alone qualifies them as being an entrepreneur for this purpose. But the Association for Entrepreneurship, or AFEUSA, is a 20-year-old organization. They offer all kinds of resources in terms of podcasts and publications, peer collaboration, advocacy. They offer all of this to individuals who consider themselves entrepreneurial, if you will. And the way that the association works is it starts with the membership. And after you join the membership, then you have access to insurance benefits. And that's really the exciting part. And that's the part that we have access to here for our Payentry clients. So that you are, once an employee signs up for that membership, then they have access to buy what we call guaranteed issue, a variety of guaranteed issue insurance products. But the membership itself offers really a tremendous value. You see here the base plan and then the silver plan. We think that even the base plan at $10.95 a month is very rich offering because it's going to allow your employees to have the 1-800-MD, which thanks to COVID last year, we've seen a huge increase in utilization for telemedicine. That means that an employee doesn't have to miss work. They don't have to take off to take their child to the doctor. They can call in for the simple things, obviously nothing very serious, but the simple things, maybe like pink eye or congestion or sinus infection or something like that. So telemedicine is offered as part of the membership for AFEUSA. Secondly, there's RX Valet, which is a discount prescription drug plan, which often can save up to 50% on prescription expenses. And then VSP, which is a vision discount plan, which is widely used. Lots of retailers are part of the VSP program, and on average, they say they can save up to a little over $400 for glasses and contacts. So that's a small little benefit package that could be just the initial offering, to your employees, offering them telemed, prescription discount, and prescription vision plan. Once they have that membership, though, next we're going to dive into the actual insurance products that an employee can enroll in. This is sort of a mock-up of a flyer that we created, but we can send everyone in attendance this flyer. It talks about the association membership, and then it talks about the insurance products that are available to members. So Really excited to be able to offer these because there's a couple of unique features that you really can't find elsewhere, or typically you'd have to be an extremely large employer group to offer this. But with the products that are offered, they're guaranteed issue. And what that means is for the insurance products, such as an accident medical expense plan, a critical illness type plan, life insurance, guarantee issue means there's no medical underwriting. If an employee wants it, they can sign up for it. There's also no minimum participation, which is really important, and we'll talk about that in a couple slides from now. But having no minimum participation requirement is great, because let's say you have 5 employees and only one of them is interested. Ordinarily, we wouldn't be able to offer voluntary benefits to just one employee, but under the association plan, we can. Very excited about the dental plan. There's no waiting on this plan, and that's for basic service, preventive, basic, and major services, which is pretty unique because normally there's, even for a large employer group, there's going to be a 12-month waiting period typically on your basic and your major services. So anyway, that gives you kind of an overview of the products we're about to dive into. You see there on your screen the site that's on the Payentry's website. We have a link to these benefits, and then we're also going to be able to set up a unique URL for your employees to go into so that they can enroll online, and it'll be connected to you as the employer, and that can be set up through payroll deduction or bank draft. So there's no paperwork to collect or track down, etc. So let's go ahead and dive into, let's see, the first plan. So the first plan that is offered through the association is your accident expense insurance. And this is pretty straightforward. It's going to pay benefits to do with being treated for an injury, right? An accident. So that could be something as simple as your child twists their ankle out playing soccer or tag football, or something as serious as an automobile accident or broken limbs, etc. So there's a schedule of benefits, and that's the way that all of these benefit plans work. There's a schedule of benefits, and in the brochure you'll see exactly what would be eligible. You'd be eligible to receive based on the injury and based on the medical treatment. But it pays anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 to reimburse from those medical expenses if you seek treatment within 90 days of a covered injury. The spouse and the children receive the same benefit as the primary insured. And I point that out because for some plans, the spouse or the children are paid a little bit less, but I like to point it out when everybody is eligible for the same benefit. On this plan, they also have what's called AD&D, that's accidental death and dismemberment. It pays additional benefits if a person were to actually lose their life because of the accident, or if they were to lose function, let's say in their hearing, their vision, a limb, etc. That's the dismemberment portion of it. So there's benefits that pay for that. And you can see there at the bottom of that slide, the plans start as low as $9.50 a month. And kind of go upward from there. And there's several plans to choose from, but in general, that's basically how that works. So benefits to do with being treated for an injury. The next plan is the hospital indemnity plan. Now, this is going to be a benefit if you were treated in the hospital to do with an injury or an illness. So it's not tied to one or the other, it's for both. And really simply put, a hospital indemnity plan pays for when you're hospitalized overnight, so you're admitted, and the way this plan is set up is it pays a daily benefit. It pays for the initial hospitalization and then a daily benefit up to a maximum amount of days per calendar year. So if you're initially hospitalized, the benefit kicks in after day 2. They basically want to establish that you just weren't in the ER for 24 hours, but you were actually admitted. And then it pays that daily benefit of $250 to $1,000 a day. It pays an additional $250 to $1,000 a day if you're confined to the intensive care unit of the hospital. The benefit pays the same to the spouse or the domestic partner, and then children receive 50% of the benefit of what the primary insured receives. So a real straightforward plan, but it's intended to help offset those high costs that we have whenever we're hospitalized. The next benefit is critical illness. If you'll go ahead and advance that for me, Kathy. Thank you. Now, critical illness, this pays a lump sum benefit upon diagnosis for certain what we call critical illnesses. So that's going to be for things like type 1 cancer, an internal, malignancy type of form of cancer, for a heart attack or a stroke, the serious things that tend to drive up the medical costs, definitely trigger our deductibles and the out-of-pocket copays that we have to share, even when we have insurance. So this is a really popular benefit, especially for those of us 40 plus years old, I'd say, and over, because of course we know the statistics to do with being diagnosed with cancer and heart disease, or typically 1 in 3 of us. So this again is a plan that just pays out, regardless of what the treatment calls for. This plan pays out upon diagnosis, and that's a nice feature. I like that because it's just very simple and straightforward way to use it. Again, this is guaranteed issue, which is very important to understand, because typically if I were coming into your employer group and I were to say, okay, your employer's offering critical illness and various voluntary benefits, if they were individual plans, people who have certain conditions, often even just type 2 diabetes that's under control, they wouldn't be eligible for a plan like this. So when we say it's guaranteed issue, that means I'm not asking any medical questions. Even if you already have a heart condition or you already have cancer, you would be eligible for this plan. The caveat is that there's a 12-month waiting period, and that's pretty standard. When you get guaranteed issue, you can expect that if you're a person that already has those conditions, you're going to need to wait 12 months before the benefit would pay out. However, after that 12 months has been satisfied, if you have a reoccurring incident or continued treatment, then the benefit would pay. But great opportunity for those who have health conditions that otherwise may not be able to get this type of a plan. The next is the dental plan. And I know a lot of folks are super excited about this because dental insurance is just, it's kind of hard to come by. And most of the time we sign up for dental insurance and there's a waiting period. So employees are hesitant to sign on when they know that they're not going to be able to use it for that bad tooth or that crown they know they need for a whole 12 months. Well, this plan offered through Delta Dental of Illinois has no waiting periods. It's very exciting. So it's one rate for all states. Now you notice doesn't show all of our states there. There's 38 states that it's covered in, and we have a list of those for you. But assuming that it's in your state, there's no waiting period. There's also a couple of other neat features about this plan that you don't often see. So your maximum yearly benefit is going to be up to $1,000 or $3,000 per person. Standard is about $1,000. So we always like it if we can see a plan that's going to go even higher than that. But they also have this carryover max benefit, and what that is let's say you used your dental plan for your teeth cleaning and your x-rays, but you didn't have any major services done. So you still have some of that $1,000 or $3,000 left over because you didn't use it all. That will carry over up to 2 times. So your deductible basically could be doubled by carrying over your benefit. Great feature. That ends up being $6,000 if you have one of the higher plans. So just like to point that out. Again, this is guaranteed issue, and 80% of all dentists in the U.S. are affiliated with the Delta Dental network. So it's going to be widely available service. The next 3 slides are going to be kind of a quick overview of the plans. The plan, it's the silver, gold, and platinum, or we kind of call it good, better, and best. The economy plan, this one, again, no waiting periods. This one has a deductible of $50 for the basic and the major services, but no deductible when you go in for using the preventive services, which are going to be your cleaning twice a year, your x-rays. This one has the yearly plan max of $1,000 with that rollover, that carryover maximum benefit feature. So it kind of gives you an idea there. I just wanted people to be able to see kind of the rates. That's for a 1 person or a couple, or it might be an employee and a child who makes 2. That gives you an idea. The next plan, the gold plan, this is the most commonly elected plan. And it does have a $100 deductible on all the plans, but the yearly max benefit goes up to the $3,000. Preventive is 100% covered, and then the deductible would apply to the preventive, but then it's 100% covered. When the deductible applies to your basic and major, it covers 70% up to your maximum limit. So again, as the benefit goes up, the price is going to go up a bit, but a good fit for people who are used to a rich dental benefit package. And then the platinum, the best plan. Obviously, this is going to be the most expensive plan. It does have a higher deductible for the basic and major services, although it is waived on the preventive services. And then it has that $3,000 annual max that can be doubled for the carryover benefits. So just a really rich plan. So super excited to be able to offer those. Now this slide is just to kind of educate you all. Payentry does partner with other voluntary benefit carriers. These are two of our favorites. Assurity has been around for a very long time. Assurity is they offer all of the standard voluntary benefit packages. They can customize the package for your employee needs. They do offer guaranteed issue group plans. Same with Brella. Brella is a unique product that just came out, just started in Texas at the end of last year, and is going nationwide this year. It's a really unique benefit because what they've done is they've bundled all of the voluntary benefits, all of the standard ones, the accident, critical illness, cancer type plans, heart and stroke type plans. They've bundled it into one benefit. And because they recognize that, people don't know how to pick and choose. They don't know. We don't have a crystal ball to know which plan do I need, which is the best fit for my family. So they've bundled it all into one. These are going to be a good fit if you're a larger employer group, if you have, employees that are interested in these benefits that will enroll in them, because both of these plans these carriers are going to require a minimum participation requirement, which is typically 10 or 15%. In order to get you set up as a group to offer the benefits. But we just wanted to let you know that the association is not the only plan that we partner with, but it's definitely the one that we see being able to be a fit for the majority of our clients. So next, let's dive into the second two of the other 5 benefits that are so popular today, and that is a legal service plan and identity theft protection plan. Legal Shield is really the pioneer in the legal service plan industry. They were founded in 1972, so they're almost a 50-year-old company. And they basically make legal access affordable. They protect currently over 4 million lives. They offer voluntary benefits in over 35,000 employer groups to date. They basically set up a network of provider law firms in all 50 states and in all provinces of Canada. And so each state's provider law firm is sort of the go-to for members in that state. So you always start with your provider law firm, and then they can guide you and assist you, basically covering every field of law. On average, their attorneys have 22 years experience practicing law. And on average, a firm's tenure with Legal Shield is 19 plus years. I'm in Texas, and I know our Texas firm has been well over 20 years. They've been contracted and committed to providing service for Legal Shield members. Basically, these firms are on retainer waiting to serve for just the everyday legal needs that people have. So let's talk about kind of how you use this service. When we think about needing an attorney, when I've presented at employer groups, often first thing people think about is either something very serious or a crime. I once had a man who said, well, I don't commit crimes. Well, I don't commit crimes either, but I've talked to an attorney quite a few times, because people have, everyday issues that come up, right? I mean, we have contracts and documents that we sign. We need legal consultation. So Legal Shield says for the everyday things that people face, let's give them access for a monthly fee. You can call in, talk to your provider law firm on an unlimited subject matter. So I tell people, even if you're not sure what kind of a legal nature the question is, just call, ask them, what does the law say about this? What are my remedies? I had a gentleman call me last Friday from an employer group and said he's being evicted from his apartment and he has no idea what to do. He's kind of in panic mode and didn't know what to do, but because his employer offered it, HR department told him to call me, and we kind of walked through that, what would be the steps. So I said, call in. You can, now with the mobile app, you can call the law firm right from your mobile app. Ask them, what are my options? How can I resolve this? If the attorneys feel like they can help you resolve an issue by sending a letter or making a phone call on your behalf, they'll do that. And I think anybody on the call would recognize that when an attorney sends a letter or makes a call, it's going to get people's attention, especially if it's something that you're being taken advantage of, or maybe being, not something that's not getting resolved. Attorneys are typically going to get people to step up and take notice more than a letter would from you or I, perhaps. Contracts and document review. I tell people, use this. It's easily, you can submit your document right there from the mobile app. I've personally had the law firm look at a few documents that before I've signed them, and it's actually stopped me from signing even a simple document. We had a home security company come by, knock on the doors of all the neighbors and wanted to have us sign up. Well, I didn't read it. I didn't even bother. I just scanned it to the law firm, and they called me back several hours later and said, don't sign it. You're locked into this thing for 3 years if you do, and other various reasons. So I always say, let the law firm look at the fine print. Let them tell you what may or may not be in your best interest. Also, IRS audit assistance. I think it goes without saying that if you're ever audited by the IRS, you would definitely want to have a tax attorney, in tow when you go to talk to an IRS representative. So that's part of the feature as well. On the next slide, other areas of coverage that aren't maybe as used as often, but trial defense. If you're sued civilly, you or your spouse are sued civilly, you have a schedule of hours that are set up as pre-trial and trial hours that are already prepaid for, and they grow over the first 5 years of the membership. So I tell people, just have that in your back pocket in case somebody tries to sue you for some frivolous lawsuit, which we know, sadly, happens all the time. Under family services or domestic services, there is a 90-day wait on these legal services, but this is going to be utilized where if you're going through an uncontested divorce, an adoption, separation, or name change. Uncontested means both parties don't need their own attorney. One attorney can handle it for both, and there's no added cost for this. I guess I should have clarified that all of this is just part of the membership, the monthly fee. But there is a 90-day waiting period on that for the family services. On the next slide, as part of the Legal Shield service, this legal service plan, traffic ticket assistance. This really helps. It makes it so much more convenient. You can scan the ticket that you receive. An attorney will contact you within 4 business hours. I'm not saying that they're going to magically make the ticket go away, but what they will do is represent you in court if need be at no added cost, and they're going to work to try to get that ticket reduced, dismissed, or deferred. But the key is they want to keep those points off your record, because if you just pay for a ticket, obviously that's going to go on your record, which is going to affect your auto insurance. It's going to increase that rate probably for several years. So it's just good to have representation for that. And then lastly, the emergency services. This is not as commonly used, but I have 2 daughters. Both of them are in college. When they were out, in college, first away from home, I thought it was super important to be able to have this. I said, if you're ever stopped, the 3 ways you would use this is if you're ever in an accident and someone's hurt, you definitely want to talk to an attorney. They'll guide you through what, photos to take, what to say, what to make sure is noted by the officer or whatever, so that when this goes back to the auto insurance company, the stories are straight and you have been represented properly. Secondly, if you're stopped by an officer, you can invoke your Miranda rights. You say, I want to be able to speak to an attorney with this service that allows you to actually do that if you're being stopped, questioned, or detained by an officer. Or thirdly, if your children are being threatened to be removed from your custody, I would consider that an emergency. You can use the service for that. We always encourage employees to have their wills created. We know statistically that 70% of Americans don't have a will in place. So we definitely promote the Legal Shield service to have that done, because the law firm is going to create that for you and your spouse, your will, your living will, your medical power of attorney, et cetera, at no added cost. Last year with COVID, we had a huge increase in requests for this because people just recognized they wanted to get their affairs in order. So that's kind of high level on the legal service plan. Next, the identity theft plan. This is huge. You know, 15 years ago, I might have asked you, had you heard of identity theft? But I know I don't have to do that anymore because it's a huge problem. Everybody's aware of identity theft. And so ID Shield offers a service that helps not only prevent it, but also address it when you become. And why these last two benefits, we know that voluntary benefits are really a great thing to offer your employees. They don't cost you anything to offer them, but they really do help your employees. With these two plans, we really recognize that these kind of help you as well as the employer, because let's face it, if a person is dealing with identity theft, they're not focused on the job. To deal with this and to get their name back, you know, to where it was before they became a victim, they've got to be on the phone. They've got to be dealing with the credit bureaus and the Social Security Administration and the Department of, you know, the DMV, et cetera. So really, these are benefits that kind of help the employer as well, because it helps people to address this. When a person becomes a victim of identity theft, it can be hours, many hours, and often financially, you know, costly to deal with it. So this service does what you would expect it to do. They do monitoring of everything that's important to you. You see a list there on your screen of your driver's license, passport, medical ID cards, investment accounts, etc. They also go beyond that to monitor social media. So if you've got children that are on social media, you want to be able to monitor that. They monitor for things like cyberbullying. They monitor the dark web to make sure that your information is not attached to somebody's that it shouldn't be. They're constantly just scanning the internet for the databases for your information that you key in for you and your family members. They'll alert you if something comes up that shouldn't be attached to your name, which is obviously important. We need to be notified as soon as possible. And then most importantly, on the next slide, the restoration service. This company, Legal Shield, and this product, ID Shield, was ranked as #1 by Money Magazine in 2021 because of the restoration service. And so what that means is, it's great to tell me that I've been a victim of identity theft, or great to tell me that my name is attached to something it shouldn't. But what's most important is, how are we going to fix it? And so the restoration ID Shield uses private licensed investigators to go to work on our behalf, and they say they'll do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to get you back to pre-theft status. And that's really what's critical, because, you know, it's one thing to know that you're a victim, but it's another thing to figure out, how do I resolve this? As employers, you all may be familiar with the incredible rise in unemployment fraud right now. I've helped several of our employer groups with that. And then lo and behold, my husband became a victim of that. He started getting notices about unemployment claims that he had made. Well, he's not unemployed. He didn't make that. So just this is really important today as we see these identity theft increase. And unfortunately, because we're all on the internet, there's really no way to totally prevent it. And we're not going to see it go down, unfortunately. I don't see, not in the near future. So anyway, good to have a plan like that in place. The next slide talks to you about the rate for these. It is a discounted rate if you offer it as an employee benefit. I also point out to employers, in case this pops into your mind, when you offer this to your employees, they can't ever use it against you, because it's always linked to you as their employer, and that's how they got it. So even if you were to let them go, or they were to go on to another job, they can't ever use it against their employer, because that would just be not nice. So I like to point that out. And then the member benefits, member perks that Legal Shield offers. And also the Association for the AFEUSA also offers all kinds of discounted programs. So it's a great way to be able to offer, really, I tell people if you take advantage of just a few of these resources, you can offset the cost of your benefits pretty easily, really, because it's often things that you're already spending money with, already through Verizon or or Dell or movie theater tickets, et cetera, travel, et cetera. So both plans, Legal Shield and AFEUSA, offer discount programs for the everyday things that people buy. So it kind of wraps it up for me. I'll open it up for questions. I want you to please make a note of my email if you have questions about this, and also the website. If you want to learn more about the AFEUSA Association memberships, are going to be on this link. And we're also going to send out a flyer that we created that'll kind of educate you a little bit more about this and send you to a dedicated website link for questions that you may have.
Okay, Sherry, we have some questions. Let's just see if I can advance this. We have some questions right now. Is the dental plan a PPO or in-network only?
Well, it is a PPO. It's not a discount plan, so it is an in-network plan, yes. But
Okay.
as
All right.
you'll recall on that slide, 80% of dentists are part of that network.
I'm finding that's very common nowadays. Another question, does any of the AFEUSA accident, medical, hospital indemnity, or critical illness pay out of pocket or deductible when we visit the family doctor, specialty doctor, lab work, x-ray, MRI, etc.?
Well, that's a good question. Yes to some of those, and it would depend on what plan you have, right? So
Okay.
like a hospital indemnity plan, it would not. That's going to be specific for you're hospitalized, you spent the night, and it pays out. Accident plan, yes, likely. I would say we would need to look at the flyers for each specific plan that people are thinking about, and we can address that. But the brochure will give details of exactly what is offered.
And here's a question, can we offer this even if we already offer AFLAC?
Good question. Typically I personally recommend that we don't offer competing voluntary benefits, kind of in the same way that you wouldn't offer medical insurance from Blue Cross and Humana. It tends to confuse the employees. I mean, yes, you certainly can offer it. Just know that there might be some overlap there, and sometimes it does confuse the employees. But sure, I mean, to me, let them choose, let the employees choose what they feel like is the best fit for them.
The next question is, are all of these able to be set up through Payentry as a payroll deduction?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Yes, that's an easy one. Are these services offered per employee, or would all employees need to agree to the same plan?
Oh, well, they don't have to agree to the same plan, but let's say an employer says, okay, we want to offer a dental plan, life insurance, critical illness, an accident. Each plan has a few options, either 4 or actually one of them has 8 options, so the employees can pick and choose depending on what plan they want. I think that was the question, but they're not.
Yes, so they're not restricted to, I mean, anybody can choose anything that they want, right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, once
Right.
you sign on, one person might be interested in the basic accident plan, and another person might be interested in the critical illness plan. So yeah, I mean, the employees can pick and choose whatever it is that they want.
And here's another good question for you. What is the minimum number of employees for the mentioned insurance plans?
Well, the great answer to that
One of the
is
best parts of it, right? One of the best
yes,
things.
is 1. And this is why we searched and searched for a plan, for a program like this. We've been searching for months, because so often you have to have a certain number. It's 10 or 15% of the eligible employees must enroll in order to make it a voluntary benefit. This program, it's one employee. So if we open it up and you just tell your employees, this is how it works. You start with a membership and then you can choose the insurance benefits. Even if only one enrolls, it's okay. It's still guaranteed issue and it's still out, they're still available to them.
Does that hold true with Affinity and the other carrier
With the
that you
Legal
mentioned?
Shield,
Yeah.
with
No,
Legal Shield,
the
or
other
which
two
one?
partners, the other two partners that you put up on there, I think it was Affinity
Oh, a
and
surety and umbrella. No, there definitely
Assurity.
are
Yes,
participation requirements for those two. We
right.
just wanted
There
to
are
let
there.
folks, yeah, there are definitely
No, yeah.
and just so people understand, an insurance carrier kind of has to do that, because if they don't ask for, let's say you have 100 employees and only 5 people enroll because they know they've got a heart condition or they know that they've got a cancer situation, right? An insurance carrier couldn't survive if they only covered those who were already sick. So that's how they spread the risk, is say we have to have a minimum number of participants. But because the AFEUSA Association is so large, they've already spread the risk. They don't need to spread it per employer group, right? Because they've got
And
thousands and thousands
right.
of members.
And all of the benefits that you've talked about today are through AFE USA, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Legal Shield and ID Shield is a separate entity, a separate carrier. But those are just kind of popular benefits that people have been enrolling in, so we wanted to mention those. But yes, the life insurance, the dental plan, the accident, the hospital indemnity, critical illness are all through the association. And I do want to point out one other thing. Voluntary benefits are unique in that they really do stand alone, like I talked about at the beginning. So if you're a group who has you don't offer any benefits at all, it's a good fit. If you already offer medical, but you've never really kind of looked into voluntary, it will supplement or complement your medical benefit package. So they really, and they're not restricted in terms of, an employer does not have to contribute at all. You're not required. So there's a lot of flexibility with voluntary benefits, and they really do serve, they do a good job of supplementing what you offer or being the standalone offering if you don't offer anything currently.
We have a question about can the benefits be taken pre-tax?
Yes, in certain circumstances, some benefits can, and that would be the accident or the hospital indemnity. With a critical illness plan, we don't want to pre-tax that because, if I receive $10,000 benefit because I have a heart attack, let's say, for instance, I don't want to be taxed on that. So we always are going to keep a life insurance and a critical illness type plan, a lump sum benefit like that. We want to keep those post-tax. But yes, for a few of them, we can pre-tax.
You do have someone here that wants to know if you'd be available for a phone conversation later today or tomorrow, and I'm assuming the answer to that is yes, right?
Of course, yes,
Of
absolutely.
course,
Yeah,
right. Okay.
yes, be happy to.
Okay. Well, I think that was our last question. Appreciate everyone being here
Okay.
today. I'm going to back this slide up just 1 minute and show you again Sherry's email address and the website. If you want more information about this, please reach out to Sherry. She'd be happy to walk you through anything that you didn't quite get today, or if you want more information on it. There is a reminder, there is a handout on your screen, the bottom of your little box there. And if you would like the handout emailed to you, then if you could send an email to Sherry and she'll follow up with you. Okay, well, thank you for coming today. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on Thursday. At the webinar on Thursday is about the Affordable Care Act reporting in 2021. Thanks for coming and have a great day.
Thank you all.